Good morning, everyone, and welcome back to some professional StarCraft 2. Today it's time for a Terran versus Zerg, where we find ourselves on the map Blackburn. Now, I know that some of you probably clicked on this video anticipating a best of 3 or maybe even a quick best of 5 series, but no, it's time for one really long game on Blackburn. And while it's not uncommon for example, a Zerg versus Protoss to go the distance, a Zerg versus Terran that goes on for this long? I don't know, I'm excited to find out exactly what ended up going down. So spotting here in the bottom right-hand corner, playing with the blue Terran SCVs, we have Cure, one of the highest ranked Terran players in the world, and his opponent. In the bottom left, playing with the red Zerg drones. Likewise also from South Korea, we have Solar, who's considered to be one of the best Zerg players. Now, neither Cure nor Solar really plays a spicy style of StarCraft. I mean, every once in a while, of course, they do like to mix it up, but both of them really strike me as conventional StarCraft 2 players, in the sense that they really try to play to the strengths and the weaknesses of their race. So a couple of days ago, for example, I ended up casting a Terran vs Zerg as well, featuring Lenok, and Lenok definitely played this map very aggressively. So on Blackburn, it's quite difficult to scout if your opponent is making drones for the third base. So basically the way it works, right, if you want to send in a couple of Hellions through this path, if you want to check if there's a couple Queens over here, if you want to check if there's any drones over at the third, you're going to have to run all the way around with the Hellions. And that's one of the things you can definitely abuse if you're a Zerg player. So when Blackburn was first introduced at the professional level a couple of months ago, it was heavily in favor of Terran, but over the course of I don't know, I think it's been 3-4 months or so, it's really become a very good Zerg map. So I just had a quick look at statistics, and when it comes to games played at the professional level, Terran now wins 44.5% of the Terran versus Zergs that they play here. So initially it was in favor of the Terrans, but over time it's become a very good Zerg map. Either way, wouldn't be surprised at all though if Solar does decide to play Roach Ravager. Roach Ravager is pretty good on those maps that are a little bit different than the others. Actually, real quick, right? So the third and the fourth base are really not that weird. There is a Golden Expo here, and obviously there's also a relatively easy to acquire base down below. But there's the expansion at both the 12 o'clock and the 6 o'clock that usually don't really come into play. But I guess they will in this one. They're technically shared. I'll show you in just a second. Okay, two Zerglings here is not bad at all. First Reaper getting a little bit of work done. Brenda, though, has popped out of the hatchery. She's going to start shooting some spines right here at that Reaper. Decent start right here for Solar, for sure. So there's the expo at the 6 o'clock and then the one at the 12 o'clock, right? So obviously this map is mirrored, so the left side is identical to the right side. And I've always liked the layout for the 6 o'clock and the 12 o'clock bases, just because they're technically shared, but obviously only one player can really mine from it. And I've seen them come into play a couple of times, but I don't know. I hope we're going to see some more of that in this game as well. Either way, quick 3-hatch opener right here from Solar, whereas on the other side of the map, we have a quick triple command center start. Little bit greedy from the both of them. But I mean, these guys, they play against each other very often. They know exactly what it is they're looking for. And yeah, they're obviously going to be very comfortable playing this triple hatch start or the triple command center start as well. It does theoretically leave you a little bit vulnerable, but I don't think it's really that big of a deal. So Zergling speed is delayed ever so slightly here. So the first couple of Hellions can definitely get some work done. That being said, I mean, Terran, they take a bit of a gamble as well, because the Banshee is going to be a little bit later. And, oh, he's actually going to go Viking first, fair enough. And obviously the Hellions, you also, I believe, have to cut those for 10 seconds or so. If you want to go for such a quick third CC. So there's definitely a couple of corners that are being cut here and there. But you know what? Maybe he can even it up a little bit over here. There you go. Not bad whatsoever. You can see Link speed only just now finishes. So technically a little bit greedy for the Zerg. He loses 2 drones, but he does grab a Hellion. I actually think that's totally fine. Alright. Yeah, so in the game that Lenok played on this map a couple of days ago, he already had a Roach Warren taken at 3.5 minutes. Not gonna go down at this point in the game just yet. He is gonna go for a lair, Solar that is. So usually with the lair we see either the Bailing Nest or the Roach Warren alongside it as well. OV Scout over here. We'll see exactly what it is the Terran has. So it's gonna actually be a Raven opener, fair enough. Triple CC with Raven, very greedy. I actually do think a Roach start would have been pretty good, but it is gonna be a Bailing Nest right here for Solar. Okay. Brenda! Save the other from... Oh, man. At least save the other one. At the same time, a couple more queens over here at the front as well, just trying to spread down as much creep as possible. Creep, of course, has multiple advantages. The biggest one, by far, being the fact that you get so much vision, right? So if you cover the entire map in creep, vision and speed are, like, two of the most underrated things when it comes to, like, new real-time strategy game players, right? I noticed this with myself as well, or when I first started playing StarCraft 2, I noticed that I wasn't really, favoring vision and speed nearly as often as I should have. Anyways, once again, a little bit of damage getting done. Alright, grabs a drone. Zerglings here actually get caught quite nicely too. Cure did bring the Raven here, so he does have a little bit of vision here of the creep tubers too. That little auto turret gets a lot of work done. How many drones will he be able to kill? Queen's actually currently busy getting rid of that auto turret first. Oof. That was very close. Almost lined up all the drones there beautifully for the Hellions to get maximum damage in. Ugh. Well, a couple more drones just popped out of the hatch. I don't think any of these Hellions are going to be the... they're not going to be able to make it out. Raven does live, right? Yeah, the Raven is... okay, that one is still available. This is the time in the game where Hellions do become a little bit less useful. So I think that was a decent enough trait right there for the Terran and probably an advantage. But the problem is that with this sort of start... I mean, Stimpec is done right now and the first couple medevacs are just about to spawn. But there's not really that much that Cure can do as a follow-up, right? So... yeah, he's basically leaving Zerg to do whatever they like for the course of the next... or over the course of the next 2 minutes or so. Apparently it means non-stop unit production for now. 4th hatchery was acquired. I wouldn't even mind seeing a 5th hatchery already coming up in the top left as well, considering that 4th was delayed a little bit. Either way, that Viking's still making sure that there's no vision for the Zerg player in the bottom lane, in the airspace over here. I like that. Obviously, it means that... yep, once again, this OV gets pushed back. It means that medevacs can be going in relatively easily. Speaking of which... medevacs making their way on over towards the top section of the map. So the golden minerals, they can be harassed from both sides. So Marines obviously are ranged units. So you could drop them behind the mineral line. Nice little bit of damage though. Yeah, not bad at all. Here come the queens once again just to try to push this back. Good game so far here for Cure. Yep. In the grand scheme of things, though, Solar's not really planning on getting all too aggressive, I don't think. I mean, if he wants to, he would probably get aggressive with 1-1 finishing up. A couple of Widowmines now also joining the fray. Raven here picking up a couple more kills. Creep tumors will be sniped here as well. Yeah, this is very much so Cure in the driver's seat. The thing is, with the way that Larva works, Solar doesn't really mind this all too much. I mean, obviously he doesn't want to take damage, but his eventual goal is just to try and get bigger eco than his opponent, and so far, that is working out just fine. Despite the fact that he's lost a lot of those drones, we're still sitting at 74 workers. Hydralisk then comes up, Infestation Pit comes up, 2-2 is coming up. Solar is playing for Hive Tech already. He's pushing the creep around, and while this base was definitely later than... or it's gonna be a little bit later than he wants it to be. Again, not the end of the world. I love the Raven, man. Raven's already up to 6 kills. It'll definitely accumulate more energy going forward. It already, reduced the need for scans by, I think, 2. That's not bad. Killed a couple of creep tumors. Or at least it helped kill a couple of creep tumors. Hello. Okay. Here I am talking about the wonderful harassment of the Terran player right before he loses. Well, all of those units for free. Still pushing back that creep like a champ, though. Yeah, not bad at all. But yeah, look. There's the lurker den. He'll probably go for the hive as soon as he realizes that the infestation pit is done, which is one of the requirements to go to a hive. There it is. Widowmine drops. Okay, so Drilling Claws is about... where is it? Am I blind? Oh, there it is. It's about, I would say, like 60% or so of the way done. It allows the Widowmines to burrow very, very quickly. It's going to be able to... it's going to help Cure Rodder continue with that relentless harassment that he's been showing us so far. This Medivac is already ready, waiting for the Drilling Claws to be done. Probably aiming for the gold base or maybe the one in the top left. Yeah, basically, Cure's strategy here is to just try and hit his opponent at 17 different angles at once. Okay, so there's Drilling Claws finishing up right now. Boop, boop. Very quick burrowing. That's what I mean, man. How many workers are we on now? Okay, 27. He hasn't lost a single SCV yet. Really good harassment here for Cure. Now, again, he has lost a lot of units here in the process too, but definitely not as many as the Zerg. I know there's going to be a couple of salty Terran players watching this, though. They're like, oh my god, he's done all this damage, and Zerg is still ahead in workers. Blizzard! Oh god. Well, now he's no longer ahead in workers. There you go. Now you can no longer okay? Now your reing is in the past. Alright, Vipers come up. Seismic Spines is coming up as well. It's going to be that ranged upgrade for lurkers. I mean, Zerg is just playing full-on late game. Solar doesn't really care too much about what's happening here as long as he doesn't lose the game. Ay. This is starting to be... Okay, yeah, this is... Okay. This is starting to become an issue. This is one of the reasons why we do see Muta openers still. There's like Ravens and Medivacs and everything hiding in the corners of the map, just ready to deal damage. My god. Cure's been relentless here. 45 workers before he lost a single SCV of his own. Fair enough. The problem is, though, even though, you know, he's dealing damage, right? And obviously that's all fine and dandy and it's all really good. Zerg is still a full base ahead of the Terran. So, like, yeah, he's taking inefficient traits, and he would love to make better traits than that. Despite all of the harassment that's going on, Zerg has basically been an entire base ahead the entire game long. Well, at least so far. Look at that poor Ultralisk. Being restrained right there. Oh my god. The worst do that on a map ever. Actually, it does look pretty cool. Oh god. Dude, I love Widowmine drops in the mid game. They're so powerful. Hate playing against them, by the way. But if you're a Terran player, highly recommend going for Widowmine drops. Especially once you finish Drilling Claws, they drill so quickly into the ground. You can get a bunch of work done. A couple of Terran units here without Medivacs. I guess they're gonna just try and back up towards the safety there of the planetary fortress. One Widowmine. Okay, does not burrow in time. I don't like these traits. Nah, that's not so good. I mean, not good for the Terran, it's good for the Zerg. Okay, now here's a big Doom drop in the top left. He's looking for the drones. Getting a little bit greedy now. Giving enough time for the lurkers to now get into position 2. So he's gonna be able to kill even more workers? I think he could have easily killed the hatch there. 19 workers go down. 77 in total. We're gonna soon be at triple digits workers killed. Yeah, so mid-game worker kills are nice, but they're not nearly as impactful as early-game worker kills, right? Because, like, at this point in the game, Solar's already maxed out. He's got a bank. He's still at 90 drones because he's instantly replacing all of the ones that he's lost. So despite the fact that he's lost quite a few workers throughout the game, I actually like his position a lot. Terran did take the top right-hand corner. Okay. Double Nidus Worm going up inside of the main base, but already Cure was waiting for this. This is some proper high-level move, okay? Having 4 Marines here ready, which is apparently the perfect number to deny 2 Nidus Worms. I didn't know that, but apparently Cure was well aware. Hello? What are you guys doing here? 12 o'clock base, getting acquired. Okay. Nice. Ghosts are gonna be the name of the game here as well for Cure. Top right-hand corner in a lot of trouble, and this is the first bit of counter-attack damage, okay, that the Zerg player has done. And now he can just go back home. Double Nidus in the back of the Natural Expo. There are lurkers in this one too, and this time around the Marines are not ready to deny it. This is super annoying, okay, for a Terran player. Oh, God. Yeah, so those siege tanks do outrange the lurkers. It's just that this is soaking up so much, you know, of that APM, right? You can't really look at everything at once, even though it looks like the pro gamers sometimes are capable of doing so. You have to be very careful with where you position your attention and what you're looking for. You know what? Yeah, 20 SCVs end up going down there. While that wasn't perfect there for the Zerg, I think the Terran player did make a good scenario out of that. So those changelings are still hanging out here. They're like, hey, we're Marines. So Zerg does need vision to be able to pop down one of those Nidus networks. I quite like it. I kind of want to see the lurkers moving on over towards this planetary over here. There's really not that much here for the Terran player to defend against this. Okay, instead he's going to harass the back of the mineral line of the gold. And maybe he could just roll Links and Banes over here. Double nuke coming up. That is, yeah, pretty good. I'm always a big fan of those things flying across the map. I mean, if it's a late game Terran versus Zerg, I think I shouldn't be too surprised. Anyways, 12 o'clock base. Now mining here for solar. There's still medevacs, by the way, hanging out in the corners. They finally are turned back home right now as well. Solar has picked up a lot of worker kills though, right? Maybe not as many as his opponent, but yeah, we're up to 29. All of those made in like the last, I want to say, 3 minutes or so of the game. And that's the problem where you go for like a lot of worker harassment. It's like, yeah, you do a lot of damage and stuff, but if you lose a lot of workers in the, or sorry, a lot of units in the process too, you can't really follow it up with anything, right? Like, you lose all the units to harass with, and you're like, okay, yeah, I can't do anything. Tactical nuke, numero uno. Moving across, number 2. Also flying across the screen right now. This one is in a bit of a funkier position. So this one definitely will explode, almost losing the entire Zerg army there. This one over here also, okay, is gonna explode, and that one will kill a bunch of drones. 9 workers end up going down here. 3 tactical nukes. Look at that. Alright. So we went from Terran having full map control to Zerg pushing back the Terran to now the Terran trying to get map control again with nukes, right? So the way it works, by the way, in case you've never played a game of StarCraft 2 before, we see like a beautiful little graphic of where the nuke is coming up, right? On the map. Same for these Nidus worms. These guys do not see similar things. They have to look for the structure coming up inside of the main base, or for, you know, the actual red dot that is put on the hatchery. So it is, yeah, very tricky to actually find out about those 2 locations. Alright. Now if ghosts are killed while the nuke is still flying, magically it no longer reaches its target. We don't know how that works either, but apparently the ghost needs to provide constant feedback of where the missile is supposed to go. Not 100% sure about that either. Pathogen Glance is coming up here for solar. Couple of missile turrets. Sensor tower comes up as well. Another tactical nuke, once again, going across the screen. It's a lot of Zerglings, man. That's a lot of... Careful now, careful now, careful now. Alright. At the same time, there is some harassment going on over here. Links and Banes will kill that one. Matter of fact, drop at the 12 o'clock position, getting quite a lot of damage in. Okay. Okay, so... Terran, in general, trades more cost-efficiently. Right? So Terran is a more cost-efficient race than StarCraft, or in StarCraft 2 than Zerg. Because of that, Zerg needing an extra base is absolutely critical in the late game. So usually Zergs will aim for at least 1 additional expansion. That means that if Terran takes the 6 o'clock base and can somehow, some way mine that out, they would have effectively traded and you know, split the amount of minerals that are available in total. I think that's not a terrible idea. 2 more nukes flying across the screen, although Zerg is already killing that hatchery for us. Okay, not quite. This one over here will land, it looks like. Couple of... Ooh, lurkers? We'll just barely get out. Spore Crawler actually is the only thing that dies there. Wonderful movement right here by Kyrdo. Like, you could really feel the tension building, right? Where it was about to be... It was about to be, like, too much for the Terran player to deal with. Where the Zerg was hitting it with Lurkers over here and Ling Bane over here. And then, obviously, we did see, like, the Nidus networks everywhere as well. It was just about to go out of... Yeah, out of the Terran's hands. But Kyr with this nuke harassment right now. And I guess that's what it is. He's given himself, once again, a little bit of breathing room. My god. We're already up to like a dozen nukes. Pretty sick. By the way, one little tip, if you ever get nuked. So in this particular case, you can see that Solar is playing with the red collars. Believe it or not, finding a red dot on a red hatchery is very difficult. I know, crazy. So one thing you can do in multiplayer while you're in game, careful now. Whew. Well, that hatchery is gonna die eventually. You can hit Alt plus F on the keyboard. Alt plus F to change the in-game colors while you're in game. So if ever like you're playing with red and you're like, okay, tactical nuke detected, you should instantly hit Alt plus F. Not Alt plus F4, that's something else entirely. But finding the red dot on a red hatch is impossible. Trust me, I've tried. Well, I mean, it's not impossible, but it's much harder. Game's hard enough, okay? Don't need to make it any more difficult. Okay, so Kyr is actually, over the course of like half a dozen tactical nukes, dismantled the 12 o'clock expansion of the Zerg, and he's flying on over a command center here. If Kyr can secure the high ground with static defense and units in the right location, that would be amazing. Once again, tactical nuke coming up. My god. Alright. So, I love this because it's buying a lot of time right here for the Terran player, right? So, these nukes are 100 minerals, 100 gas each. So, they're definitely not cheap. But it's buying a bunch of time right now for him to secure the 12 o'clock position and to try and get into a decent spot. Slow pushing here some of the static defense too. If you can turn that into a planetary fortress, that would be fantastic. Okay. Here comes some additional SCVs ready to make some more of those missile turrets. Top left and corner now in a little bit of trouble too. My god. It's been absolutely relentless. Okay, so the 6 o'clock base is now being acquired here by Solar. I don't think that that expansion is nearly as easy to control as the 12 o'clock though, because... I mean, this is something you can harass from the low ground, right? I'm pretty sure like a Marine over here can hit the... Like, a siege tank over here can definitely hit the mineral line. Assuming you have high ground vision. Okay, so 2 units that we have seen added into the mix right now too are Brute Lords and Infestors for the Zerg. And then we have obviously a ton of Ghosts here, but also Thors for the Terran. So once upon a time, Brute Lords countered Thors. These days, Thors counter Brute Lords in a direct fight. The problem is that if you have enough Brute Lords, you can throw all of those Brutelings on the ground, and it blocks the pathing of the Thors, and the Thors will have a hard time getting in range. Yeah, so this is kind of what I'm talking about. Look, here's the Vikings, and here's a couple siege tanks. Absolutely demolishing this base right away. Okay. Yeah, so this expansion, I don't really see it being acquired here for the... my god, dude. There's nukes everywhere. Is he nuking his own stuff? Smart. Or maybe that was a Nidus worm? I'm not sure. It's a lot of creep tumors, man. Anyways, so there's a weird dynamic between Thors and Brute Lords is what I'm trying to get at. Where, like, if it's 10 Brute Lords going up against 10 Thors, the Thors will win every single time. But if it's, like, 20 Thors going up against 20 Brute Lords, the game gets a little bit different because it depends on where it takes place, where the fight happens. Obviously, Neural Parasite, also very good. Oh my god, huge fungal growth over there. Kills a bunch of ghosts. Ooh, dude, that was absolutely amazing for Solar. Ghosts are so expensive. I know every single Terran player cringed just a little bit, because that was a very expensive set of units to lose. So ghosts have an ability called Enhanced Shockwaves that makes the EMP a little bit better. Or like they have an upgrade that makes EMP better. And EMP is absolutely critical when you have Infestors here into the mix too. Because the problem is, Infestors can obviously use Neural Parasite against these Thors too, and then take control of them. Which, yeah. Makes this fight happen. Alright. So, because of that fungal growth right there on all of those ghosts, and those ghosts being a little too far forward, now it's going to be the Zerg player once again who grabs that expo. At the same time, though, those Vikings, as well as a couple of leftover units with the siege tanks and stuff, they're trying to continue the harassment for a little while longer. A couple of changelings apparently are dropped here. Not entirely sure what they're supposed to do, other than scare the opponent. A Thor drop at the 12 o'clock position, but Vipers are going to be able to conduct all of this very easily. And that was maybe a little bit overly ambitious at the 25-minute mark. Okay, so as far as upgrades go, we are coming up on 333, yes. Zerg doesn't have +3 missile just yet, but he is going for +3 flyers. He's got +1 flyer armor. Would love to see that coming up. Maybe some more mech upgrades would not be a bad idea, because he's basically just making mech units right now together with ghosts. Alright. So it is a back and forth for the 12 o'clock base right now. Double nuke. This expo still actually has a lot of minerals in it too. Good work right there by the Terran player denying that. But here's what I'm talking about. Look at the amount of brutes. We're now at 20 brute lords going up against 9 Thors. It's time to add in Vikings or something, my man. Hoping for a lucky tactical nuke might not necessarily be the best call. That being said, obviously Zerg still has fungal growth and also has parasitic bombs against Vikings. Marine drop heading on over towards the 12 o'clock base. Obviously, the Zerg army is relatively slow, other than the Zerglings. Yeah, look at this, man. Those Brute Lords are getting so much work done. So the Brutelings, after they land, they also do get value. Oh my god, Blinding Clouds! They get value from the the +3 melee upgrade. So this is a lot of Brute Lords that are being killed right now. Thor's trying to get the maximum amount of DPS in. A couple of Ghosts also did line up some of their snipe abilities. At the same time, though, the 12 o'clock position, even though the medevac apparently didn't make it, some of the Marines at the very least got dropped off. Cure does hold the position, and that's really, really, really important. Okay. Great back and forth so far. Both players, 37 workers. Another tactical nuke in the center of the map. The amount of nukes that have been thrown around at this point, by the way, is getting a little bit absurd. Like, this nuke wasn't even really going to be able to achieve much in the first place, right? Like, this is one of those nukes where you just cross your fingers and hope for the best. Now, I have seen Solar take a huge nuke to the face in the past. That was on Romanticide against Maru, if I'm not mistaken. I think it was Maru. Anyways, he ended up losing, like, probably like 100 supply worth of Zerg units in one tactical nuke. So Cure is triggering some of that, like, PTSD, I suppose. I'm not 100% sure. Maybe trying to, like, force his opponent into some decision-making he doesn't like, but it does feel a little bit desperate. Hatchery will be killed underneath the command center. So the command center is going to be able to land here eventually. That being said, here comes the Brute Lord army once again. 23 of them in total at this point. Ghosts are available, but they really need to line up a couple of those snipes. Here once again come off some of the Blinding Clouds. Fungal growths as well. Slowing down some of the Thor's advancement. A couple of Neuroparasites are also coming up. Few Terran reinforcements though coming in from the north. These are not actually in their correct modes, meaning that these Thors will not be able to kill the Brute Lords very effectively whatsoever. Cure ends up losing a tremendous amount of his supply here. Does save the Thor right there at the last possible second. But those Thors being in the wrong mode, so Thors have two modes. One of them being high impact damage. It allows them to kill the Brute Lords really easily. It gives them some additional range. Yeah, I think that was definitely a bit of a misplay. Oh, 6 o'clock base will be denied. Zerg did obviously still have the 12 o'clock base also acquired. And Solar is showing us that Brute Lord Infestor is still really good. Brute Lord Infestor was supposed to be bad these days. Did Solar not get the memo? Yeah, it's looking really strong. Planetary Fortress here in a little bit of trouble, but honestly, it doesn't really matter all too much. This Ghost, hoping for a lucky hit, does kill one of the Spore Crawlers here and slows down some of the units. Another tactical nuke. We're talking dozens of tactical nukes at this point, right? Has anyone been keeping track? Has anyone been counting them? Let me know down below in the comment section how many nukes went down in total in this game. I would actually love to know. I know there's a little number that shows up on the left side of the map, but That number doesn't indicate how many, like, nukes have actually been used. So Cure isn't even maxed out anymore, and he's still making nukes. It's one way of dropping your gas, I suppose. He's running out of mineral patches to mine. So he needs to secure either the 12 o'clock or the 6 o'clock base. I think the 6 o'clock is much easier, but the problem is that there's so many Brute Lords. Brute Lords also were supposed to suck, man. What's going on right now? I thought both Brute Lords and Infestors were supposed to be terrible. Careful now, careful now, careful now. Don't leave the brutes over there, man. Okay, Bio Army. 12 o'clock base. Very good. Kills an Infestor as it pops out of the hatch. Kills a lot of drones. And this expansion will not mine for any longer. So Brute Lords can only be in one place at the right time, right? So I don't think you can really leave them in the middle of the map and then move them on over where you need them. Meaning that, technically speaking, one of these bases should be acquired by the Terran player. Because this Zerg army is immobile enough. Okay. So Cure ends up killing both. That's really good. Terran army, though, in a bit of an awkward spot right now. Once again, using a tactical nuke to try and get him out of here. Fungal growth does come up. Can he kill the ghost, though, that is casting tactical nuke? It's the one right here in the back. He will not. Yo, Medevac, you need to get to work, dude. You need to, like, ferry these units into the main base or something. I don't know. Come on. If you're gonna hang out there, you're gonna die. Yeah. Alright, alright. EMPs did land this time around on the Infestors, by the way. Great play right there by Cure. Yeah, he's just lifting up the Thors right now. Trying to make the best of it. So he should have the 12 o'clock. Like, he really, really, really should have the 12 o'clock. Because this Zerg army cannot be at two places at the same time. And these brutes will take a full minute to get back up north. So I would love to see one of those orbital commands over there and just throw a bunch of mules over there. You have so many orbitals. I think it's totally doable. This may be a bit of a misplay right here from Cure, rather, because he seems to be really keen on taking the 6 o'clock base. But I don't know. Come on. You have, like, come on. There's no creep there anymore. Okay, I guess he's too busy microing this army over here. Problem is, he doesn't have that much income. I guess the Zerg doesn't have much income either, though. For what it's worth, actually, Terran has more income right now than the Zerg. Oh my god, he has way more income, actually, than the Zerg right now. Cure losing this battle, it seems. But he is mining a lot more than his opponent. Hey, look at the Thors right there, derping around, man. Trying their best to target fire down the brutes. That's not a brute going down. Maybe they can kill one more. Yep, that one will also be killed. Another one. Oh. Oh my god, they kill so much. That was 2 Brute Lords against such a huge Zerg army. They still ended up, sorry, 2 Thors right there against such a huge Zerg army. They still ended up killing way more than I thought. I don't understand why the 12 o'clock base is not acquired. Come on, man. There, finally it goes over. But there's been a precious 3 minutes or so where he could have had it. Even Solar assumed that it was already taken. To be fair, though, there's only a few hundred minerals remaining at this base. Zerg has been mining this for the majority of it, and obviously Terran mined it for some time as well. Yeah, then I guess the 6 o'clock base is a lot more valuable. So, the reason why his income is still so high is because he's dropping mules, right? The problem is that he's running out of mineral patches to mine from. As a matter of fact, yeah, he's basically got nothing. So there's a little bit in the top right remaining, but that's about it. Okay. It's gonna be a huge spike in Terran income. So, Cure has been making the correct army to deal with this Brute Lord Infestor Viper Corruptor-based army. The problem is that Zerg has just had more stuff. And generally speaking in StarCraft 2, more stuff beats less stuff. So Cure really needs to try and get a big army together. Okay. I think making a new hatch over here is not a bad idea either, to be honest. This base was harassed some time ago. I think it was the same hit squad that killed the base at the 6 o'clock. Yeah. Yeah, so this is what I mean. This is actually quite good for Cure, though. It's just that there's not that many minerals remaining anymore in that position. But yeah, these brutes, you can't really split them up very effectively. I love this, actually. Really good move by Cure. Yeah. So he's, like, teching down, technically speaking. So he's going from Brute Lord Ghost, or sorry, from Thor Ghost into Marine Marauder Medivac again. Now, the thing is, Zerg normally is very fast-paced and very quick. This is not one of those compositions. Yeah, he can't really leave this base alone, because as soon as he leaves this base, there's going to be Medivac drops at that location, right? So, Cure right now, just walking around the map with some of his bio army. Killing whatever he can. Getting rid of whatever the Zerg player still has out there. Not bad. Killed like 3 hatcheries in a short amount of time. That is love, dude. Look at this drone. Look at the SCVs waiting their turn while the drone was mining the minerals. That's beautiful. No! What? Cure, come on, man. Stop being a jerk. Alright, fine. Yeah, so Solar's just parked. He's parked right over here on top of this base. Not concerning himself with what is going on in the rest of the map. Just trying to make a massive army. And trying to make the best of it. Wouldn't mind seeing a Ling Bane run by up north, by the way. So there's a few hundred minerals remaining in those. Alright. Yep. We're at 5 Corruptors right now. A couple of Vikings might not hurt either. Man, late game TVZ is far more interesting than late game ZVP, isn't it? I've seen so many Skytles armies. Maybe that's the reason why, but like this is... There's an actual dynamic going on, rather than a death bowl. I mean, this is the closest we've come to a death bowl, but for what it's worth, Solar's army was always much bigger. Okay. I love that Cure tech back down. That's... Yeah, it's kind of good. Okay. Splitting against the Banelings. Wonderful job. Those Banelings, by the way, are getting rather expensive. And now he's going into the Natural Expo. Okay. Mineral fields up north. Running out. There's really no other minerals to mine anymore. He's long distance mining the remainder over here. 215 and 225. Is he moving out? I don't think you want to yet, man. I think you want to bank on this expansion for a little while longer. Natural Expo is in a lot of trouble. Yeah, so Solar is starting to feel the heat. Actually, when he loses these spires, it's not like he can really add on to his army anymore either, because I think he wants to... He probably wants to mostly go here for flying units. Okay, Evo chambers are gone. Hatchery is gone. Spires are gone. And I think the main base may very well be next. So Zerg has lost the natural 3rd, 4th, and 5th. And now he's losing the main. He's remade a spawning pool as well as a bailing nest over here. The issue is, though, that Cure will still need to deal with this army. Like, he still has to somehow, some way kill this force. It could actually become a draw as well if, like, the Corruptors are killed. And, like, you can lend some of... Or you can float some of the structures in the corner. Because, like, once this base is mined out, you're not going to be able to produce anything anymore. Like, it's not like you can replant the spire and then go from there. Okay, there's the Lurker Den gone. Spawning pool will be killed here, too. Solar has made the strategic decision to give up the expos. As well as his old main base. But was that the right one? Was that the right call? Look at Terran right now. Complete control of the map once again. The problem is, while he has complete control of the map, the only area where minerals still exist is the location where he doesn't have control. So, like, all these other bases completely mined out. Okay, the boys are pulled as well. 25 SCVs are available. 25 SCVs, I guess, ready to soak up some of that damage. Is Cure gonna fight into this Zerg position? There's a fungal. EMP is obviously absolutely massive here. If the infestors are without energy, this Zerg army gets substantially weaker. Solar morphing in whatever Bane he can. He's no longer capable of adding anything other than Lings and Banes and Queens, I suppose. Okay. Scan over here will reveal some of those creep tumors. So he's going to try and slow down the Zerg player as much as he can. The problem is, right? Yeah, he's gone back up to a lair. He's got a Spire right now, Infestation Pit. The problem is there's still thousands of minerals remaining here for Solar. Whereas Cure has to do it with this army. Like, this is what he's got. He's got one shot. Will he capture it? Or will he have Mom Spaghetti on his sweater already? You know what I mean? You don't know? Okay, you don't know what I'm... Okay. Anyways. Setting up a concave right now, inviting this Zerg player to come into his army. Solar smartly backing off. Please split up the Infestors, Solar. Can you please split up the Infestors? Because one EMP can definitely... Yeah, okay. Well, that's a little bit of a split. Sure. Thank you, buddy. Fungal Growth misses. That Fungal Growth does land, and a couple of the bio units do end up going down. Another EMP right there. Connects with some of the Infestors. Is there enough remaining? Huge Fungal Growth actually comes up! All of those bio units are caught under the Zerg, I guess, juice or goop or whatever you want to call it. That was like half of the army of Cure caught under the Fungal Growth. GG is called. And it's gonna be Solar that wins a long, drawn-out macro game on Blackburn. Very well played. Yeah, Fungal Growths really were the key in this one, right? So, I feel like there were two turning points in the late game. First off, the fight at the top of the map, when he landed a huge Fungal Growth on all of those ghosts, and then he pushed back the Thors, took care of the expansion up north, and then he retook that base. And then obviously this Fungal right here at the end as well was absolutely massive. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed watching this video. If you did, hit that like button down below. If you want to see more, make sure you hit that subscribe button so you get notified as soon as future videos go live. Today, I also want to give a special shout out to the Patreon supporters. If you enjoy my content and you would like to support the channel directly, check out my Patreon page. It's patreon.com/LowkoTV. There are a bunch of perks you get for being a Patreon supporter. Obviously, those are all optional as well. Patreon itself is completely optional, but if you want to, you can go ahead and have a look. Anyways, for now, thanks for watching. Have a great day. Don't forget to smile, and I'll see you once again in the next one.